All right, let's go ahead and talk about exceeding level stuff, which is a little bit of what we did in class today. Now, I'm not necessarily going to talk about how to set up the equation. I'm going to leave that as a challenge for you, but I'm going to talk about how we can go about solving this, right? So if you look here, there's two ways, and I kind of already showed you the work. When you got to solve a problem that has multiple components, you're going to distribute the 8, subtract the 56, divide the 8, and then you get your solution. Very similar to what we did in the past, except you have to distribute that 8. Or if you don't like that option, you can do another way. It's always good to know multiple ways. You can just divide 8 to both sides. Now you might be wondering, right, in the previous problem, and I'll show you real quick because I don't want you to get too confused here. Let's go ahead and do this real quick, right? What is the difference between, let's say, this versus this? Okay. When I divide by 8, there's a plus symbol in between these two. So when I divide everything by 8, both of them are getting divided by 8. So both of these are getting divided by 8. That was kind of like the mistake on the previous activity. And then you had to divide it to the other side. The difference here is that in between the 8 and this expression, there's a multiplication symbol. So if I do dividing by 8, these 8s are just going to cancel out, and all I'm left with is x plus 4. I want you to notice the difference between that versus this right here. If I go divided by 8, the 8s won't just cancel because there's a plus symbol separating these two numbers, if that makes sense. So you can't just cancel these out because you have to do the operation of addition on the top first, right? That's why when you divide by 8, really, in this case, it's everything by 8. In this one, it's just this first number because the thing that separates these two here is a parenthesis, is multiplication. So when you divide, it's gone, and then you get, 300 divided by 8. So we get 300 divided by 8, and you get x plus 4 is equal to, and then we can solve it out. So I want to show you the difference of those two, and that's what you did here. Instead of distributing and then subtracting and doing that whole thing, you can just divide by 8. It's not going to divide everything because remember, when you divide everything by 8 here, it's really, again, let me just show you. It's just these are going to cancel. It's the parentheses are separating those. 384 divided by 8 is 48. You're left with what was in here, and then you subtract the 7 to both sides, and then you can go through and continue on. Now, how do you check your work? Let's take the 41 and let's plug it in. So if I plug in the 41, I get 8. 41 plus 7 is equal to 384. 41 plus 7 is, let's go ahead and get my calculator out real quick. 41 plus 7, 48. 8 times 48 is equal to, and then 8 times 48 is 384. So fair enough, but boom, it does match that problem right there. Nice. All right, I'll let you set this up, but if you don't know how to set it up, oh yeah, you can just ask me and then you can solve it out. Here's some practice for you to try out. Again, I'll give you an example here. I would divide by 9 first. Boom. We get 2x minus 5 is equal to 3. And then now you're going to add 5 to both sides. Again, we're going to undo these operations, just like putting everything together. And we get 7. And then we divide by 2. And we get 4.5. And again, you can use a calculator for that. So x equals 4.5. So you can see that one's a little bit of a tough one, involved quite a bit of steps. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about is solving for a letter. So this says solve d equals r times t for r. So we want to solve for r. What this means is we want r to be by itself. So if I write d is equal to r times t, well, I want to get rid of the t. Well, they're multiplying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by t to both sides. The t's cancel, and then now I'm going to get r is equal to d divided by t. Boom, there it is. If I go to do this next problem right here, let's go ahead and try that one out. I'm solving for c, right? I'm solving for this capital letter C. Well, notice, again, I got are letters, right? Let me just go ahead and undo this. And again, my goal is to get C equals. Well, I know that a lot of ways to do this, but I know that we're dividing by D. So I want to get rid of that. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So we're going to multiply by D to both sides. Boom. we get D times capital R is equal to, and then we get C times S. And then what do we do to get rid of S? We need to divide both sides by S. Boom, boom. So you can see all we're doing is moving things around so that instead of it being R equals, we want it to be C equals. So these cancel. And now I get C is equal to D times capital R divided by S. So you can go ahead and give these next ones a try. They're pretty tough, but do the best that you can. All right, take care, y'all. Capiche?